Hello everyone, I'm NTom64.
I'm Tanner of the North.
And I'm the Flameclaw.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Sonic Frontiers. It's been a pretty good year for Sonic so far. We had the, I would say, pretty decent sequel to the first live-action movie. Currently sitting at 69 on Rotten Tomatoes. Hey!
Nice.
And then we had Sonic Origins, which, not as great, but I'm sure there's worse things in the franchise. Feel free to list them. And now we have this, Sonic Frontiers, currently sitting at 72 or 73 on Metacritic, at least if we're going by the PS5 version. This is the Series X version, and I'm rambling. But I was pretty happy with what Frontiers brought to the table overall. We've all finished the game here. It was originally going to be blind, then I got sick, and I couldn't be asked waiting to play a new Sonic game, so it is what it is. Gonna go on normal, high-speed style. Cause I've played a Sonic game before. What are you talking about? And there were actually two prequels to Frontiers. This is kind of coming off the tail end of the first one, where Sonic tells Amy and Dickie about fighting bandits and whatnot, and then they find out they've been tricked by Eggman, so they decide to head to the Starfall Islands, and he's already there giving it all this. He plans to take over the AI system, or whatever, and that is how Frontiers starts. Tanner, you are probably the most positive one out of us here at the HFC Roundtable for Sonic Frontiers. Why is that?
That's really interesting. I didn't know that. I played this game coming into it not very happy with Sonic in recent years. After Forces came out and was, in my eyes, one of the worst games I've ever put money towards playing, I was really not happy with it. But everything they showed off with this game scratched me in ways that I haven't felt since the adventure days. And I played it and I really enjoyed it. And we'll get into why for sure as we go on. But I am really positive. I think this might be one of my new favorite Sonic games for sure.
Wow. Well, just in terms of like tone, atmosphere, and script, it's exactly what I wanted from a new Sonic game. There's still levity, but the story takes itself seriously in a way that isn't po-faced and whatnot. So I think it's safe to say that overall I enjoyed Frontiers, I would say the second most out of us here at this old round table. And Flame, you're the negative Nancy at the other end of the table.
Okay, so to get out of the way, I should say I don't dislike this game on the whole, but I do have a lot of caveats. I would say the things that you guys talked about, the story, the tone and that, I agree are fantastic. Like the story, it respects itself enough to take itself seriously. Writing is great, I'm sure we'll get more into that over the course of the game. That's beautiful as an opening too, but you know. But yeah, I feel like it's a game of some very high highs and some pretty low lows.
Okay. Can't even go out for one fucking airplane ride without some shit happening. This is what happens when you're in a world of furries.
This is just a daily event for Tails at this point.
Well, it's all the fur gets stuck in the engine, and that's what causes it, right?
Okay. I think this bit is done now.
This bit was done before it started.
Woo, cyberspace. There are two different types of gameplay in Sonic Frontiers. You have this sort of thing right here, which is, you know, your boost, your light speed dash, your homing attack, and so on. And then you have the open zone stuff, which we'll get to in a minute. But there was a tiny little bit of controversy regarding this whole cyberspace thing, because you'd think it would control better overall, or at least feel better, compared to boost games of, you know, yore. But not so much. I will say it does feel like Sonic is moving through molasses at times.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
You can get used to it. It's not something to write it off for, but I would say it kind of carries over some of the quirks from Forces, like the upward curve when you do an air dash, for example. But the whole thing feels heavier. If you want to turn, it feels heavier. If you're doing a jump, it feels heavier. If you're like me, where on the lead up to Frontiers you replayed Forces, Your muscle memory's gonna fuck you over big time here.
Yeah, overall I enjoyed cyberspace, and we'll get into it when there are obviously more levels to discuss. But I feel like it's a compromise for people who maybe weren't ecstatic about this whole new open zone thing. So Sonic Team was like, maybe we need to include a touch of the old along with the new.
It's in a difficult position where to make a gameplay style like Boost Sonic. But you can't exactly just pull, say, Generation gameplay into this, because it will just sort of clash against it. So for the control, they've kind of had to make it similar to the open zone areas, but with that more linear kind of practicality, and it is a little bit of an awkward compromise in that respect.
You have done the impossible. You have escaped cyberspace through your own power.
Yeah, I'm kind of happening like that. I'm sort of rad of a 90s proclamations.
Huh? Sure beats being called a rodent. Are you saying I can rescue my
Stillman's a bit
friends?
nicer than the other voices we hear.
Find the cave
Oh,
center.
die this, die that.
Destroy the Titans.
Don't look up the plot to Shadow the Colossus if you haven't played Frontiers yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, sure.
No wrong, and it gets even more apparent when you get to the fucking bosses. I feel like this is a good time to bring up the fact that
Oh well.
for the voice cast, we have the cast from the other meta games, but there's a very clear, more serious direction on the whole. Heard Sonic showing a little bit more vulnerability than he has the entire last fucking 10 years or so. I think this shows that this voice cast are an incredibly strong voice cast, because I feel like this is the first time they've been given genuinely amazing material to work with.
Oh, absolutely.
They can be very flexible when they need to be. Like Roger there was absolutely on point from like the first cutscene.
It sounds less like a caricature of Sonic and more like a character,
Hey.
right? Because before, if you wanted to do a Sonic voice, you would just be like, "Whoa, chili dog," what, right? But here it actually sounds like a proper. No, we actually want to do stuff with this character and show the depth, which I really appreciate.
The only one who hasn't really changed is Tails, but Tails is perfection, so it's kind of hard to top that.
Which is kind of strange, because over the meta era, I'm pretty sure Tails has changed voice a couple of times, but it's just because of the kind of character Tails is. It's more just the delivery, it's a young boy voice, and as long as they get that on point, then it's gonna work.
So we got a Bayonetta-style training arena here. You can turn this off, because it's like a thing that appears during loading and whatnot.
It is your obvious, this game's having to load, so here's something to do in the meantime, at least once you get past the initial spot. The combat. This is something I'll admit I was quite worried about on the lead up, because Sonic has dabbled in combat a fair few times before this game, and it has never worked. But here they've taken a much more interesting approach that I think lends itself much better to the faster gameplay style.
Yeah.
It's less of like the slow punching like the Werehog had, or the button mashing like Boom had. I guess the closest comparison is like your Bayonettas and your Devil May Cries. It's something that you can do combos and just keep the momentum going, similar to the platforming in Sonic. And that's why I feel it just works so much better. It does, unfortunately though, struggle from the same slow start that those games have, because obviously they don't want to throw all the mechanics at you at once, because then that would overwhelm you. But also the first few enemy encounters just being the kick, a little bit dire.
Alright, Guardians, very powerful. Bigger than normal enemies, and they have special attacks. Lock onto them by pressing the right stick. Okie dokie.
So this wants you to get used to timing the kicks, but if you do what Tom just did and did the parry, this boss is a joke.
I can wait as long as you can.
I was gonna say, what do you mean time the parry? This game has unlimited parry windows, which is the most insane thing. And it's funny because people dug around in the game data, and that was originally going to be an option for easy play. But I guess they turned that off because maybe the kids were saying, oh, I'm going to be good at parrying, and then they weren't. So then they're like, no, we'll just put it on for unlimited time.
Oh, back in my day.
I feel like because it's such a radical departure from typical Sonic gameplay, they didn't want to throw in too many complex mechanics, which makes sense. But at the same time, as someone who even doesn't necessarily play that many action games that use parries, to me, it took me a minute to realise that when it says you don't have to time the parry, it actually means you don't have to time the parry, and trying to time the parry actually works against you. Because it's just like, in general, you kind of see that kind of gameplay kicking off. You see the guy about to swing a sharp blade towards you, and you think, okay, now I've got to do it. But no, you need to have already been doing it.
Oh man, that took all 5 of my brain cells. So as we move through the open world, we will have puzzles to do and whatnot. It is absolutely not inspired by Breath of the Wild. Stop saying that. Why won't you stop saying that?
Maybe because even the fucking sound effects sound like Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I guess.
You know, the UI also in its kind of simplistic but technological style. It's kind of a big thing with it.
Alright, so, it's the other button, I believe. I'm not entirely sure where it is. There it is. Skills. We will go ahead and purchase the Psyloop, and because I have the DLC, which gives me lots of points, I'm just going to go ahead and get the DBZ thing, another DBZ thing, a Sonic Adventure thing, and I don't have enough for that, so we'll come back later.
Air Trick 1 will come in handy. So what that does is whenever you launched off like a dash pad or a spring, you can mash spin in the analog stick and it gives you the skill points that help you get the other abilities. So that's one way to kind of get leveled up a lot quicker.
I know there was a lot of people who were really, really worried about the fact that one of the pre-order bonuses is getting a bunch of experience and a bunch of items to start you off with. But in all honesty, the amount it gives you is so negligible that within an hour, you're basically already used it up, and you won't be needing to, find more of those items. You'll be getting another type of item in its place.
Usually I'm not a fan of things like that, where it's like if you pre-order it or you get this DLC, then you get a head start in the game. But I feel for this game, going back to what I was saying about like the opening introduction to the combat being a bit slow, I feel like that's a good thing for a second playthrough of the game like this. Granted, that could be a setting that you could enable anyway, like a New Game Plus or something like that, but still, it will make this playthrough in particular be a little bit less slow to start with.
Well, don't worry, once we get to the second island, I'll have none of those handouts, so it's going to be the real, authentic Sonic Frontiers experience. Alright, try to use the Psyloop in combat. This is a real nifty sort of thing, 'cause it kind of ties into Sonic being just a fast mofo who will not slow down, and I just do that, bada bing, bada boom, they're dead.
It's a really cool mechanic that continues being useful consistently across all the islands, and you can draw a penis with it.
Yeah.
So it's 2 in 1, really.
Well, since you asked.
See, you went for the penis, I went for the Among Us.
There
That,
we
yeah,
go.
like that, perfect. There we go.
That's the one that won't affect their ads, it's fine.
Return to the digital dimension again.
What is this chair trying to say to me?
Use that gear to bridge the gap between dimensions.
Okay, I understand, chair. Thank you for your wisdom.
This game, the progression system is pretty much a simple case of go find the thing to unlock this thing will give you another thing that you need to unlock something else, and
It is
not my
enough
kind of
to
thing,
make
but I know
connection.
that collectathon games are really popular, so I understand why they kind of went with that approach. Plus it does give you a little bit of leeway to unlock things out of order, which is another thing that benefits open games like this a lot.
You could just say it's NTom core.
Okay, yeah.
I think the really nice thing, though, about it is it's not like a true collectathon where there is, like, one of each item in a certain place, with the exception of Chaos Emeralds we're going to get to, because, of course, there's only one green emerald, right? But everything else, you pretty much can get as many as you want of them through various means. So, say if you don't want to do cyberspace, there are ways around that.
Actually, there were 2 green emeralds in Sonic Heroes, because Shadow had one in the animation as well as the one you unlocked. Actually, Tanner, sir.
Okay, I see.
I think he might have just got owned there.
This is one of the enemy types that comes up a lot. I think it does a pretty good job of, although there are enemy types that you will come to recognise and refight like over the course of the game, there's at least enough different ones, and you get new abilities, obviously, to fight them with, so the battles do feel different, and they go by a lot quicker once you have extra skills.
There's also a large variety of ways to actually deal with them. Like, for instance, on my first playthrough, I thought, oh, this dude's a big tower, I'm going to Psy-loop him, and every Psy-loop gets rid of one of the segments. I thought, that's one way to do it. Later on, you fight ones where they're way too big to Psy-loop, so then you actually have to parkour up them. And other ones, you'll have to jump on them from above. So even if it's the same enemy type, depending on the location, depending on, kind of how big they are, what level they're at, you might have to change your strategy.
The Sonic Boom, like, being open early definitely helped with that one, and it will definitely help with the first, like, big enemy we'll be up against, so look forward to that.
He's not far off, actually. I could go into cyberspace, or I could utilise Frontier's wonderful sense of freedom and just go fuck around on some rails.
Yeah, that would have been cool if you landed on the rail, Tom.
Flame, we're all friends here. You don't have to take the mick.
I know, I don't.
But you're going to anyway.
It took me way too long to realize that those big green glowing containers actually held items. My brain looked at that and went, that's toxic and evil, don't touch it. So I didn't until I ran into one and I got like one of the seeds of power, and I'm like, oh, I should have been grabbing these.
Oh.
With this kind of gameplay style, you need to get into the habit of, if you see something that looks interesting, it probably is interesting. It might give you some of the skill points, it might give you some of the hearts. You want to check out anything that glows this time. It's not going to shoot you. Or it might, if it's an enemy, but you know.
Well, if it looks like it's going to fire some sort of Kamehameha blast, stay clear of it. Otherwise, give it a good old bonk.
Or you could just stand in place and hold the parry button, just to be careful.
Don't reveal the ancient secret shouted from the ghost's memories or whatever. Oh, Seagulls, you don't know what Sonic has to put up with in this game.
They're just observers, it's not their story.
Imagine if they were the ancients spoken of in the song. I guess they're pretty ancient.
No, if it's like a fucking filament kind of thing where they're just watching over Sonic.
Now you can turn that off should you wish to get into the stages more quickly, but I'll keep it on for now. This motherfucking cyberspace stage is the bane of speedrunners everywhere. Do you know how long it took me to get an S rank in this? Like, maybe an hour or so.
Same. I tried to do that for my recording and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this across different runs and I'm just gonna have one specific S rank run that I'm gonna get, and even that, not worrying about any of the rings or anything, it took me bloody ages. And there is some weird inconsistency there, because there's some of them that are super tight like that, but there's others that you get the S rank by complete accident when you're looking for the red rings or something. And I actually found one of the hardest ones for the standard, collect X amount of rings to get the thing, missions, to actually be the tutorial one.
Wow.
Because it gives you a very tight amount that you need to get compared to rings level, whereas the other ones, it just sort of throws them at you.
See, look at that. I got the reach the goal, I got the clear of 80 rings. That'll do for now. The DLC will prop me up in that regard.
For this island, you can get away with that, yeah.
I got a star! Yeah, double jump.
Getting a lot of stars.
I'm so good at this.
What do the stars do? I don't know yet. I've beat the whole game and I never got enough.
Fuck all, dear Tanner, fuck all. Alright, yeah, we have the soap shoes from SA2 enabled, I forgot about that.
That was just a standard free DLC that anyone can get, wasn't it?
It was a pre-order thing, yeah.
Actually, both of you are wrong. What it is you needed to sign up for the Sega newsletter.
Oh.
And then you got that sent to you in an email. Yeah. So I remember that one's tough because a lot of people were getting them in emails. They're like, I got my soap shoes code. And you got other people who weren't getting them because they're just going through the list. And I've never seen people so, like, wanting soap since, like, the Middle Ages.
That feels like a bit too smart of a joke for HFC, I'm gonna be honest with you, Tanner.
Sorry, I've been in teacher mode too much recently.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, let's leave 1-2 behind and never come back to it.
You're gonna want that one red ring you missed later at some point, you just know it, right?
No, don't need it. Don't need it right now.
He's just watching you while you sleep.
Why?
Because you didn't get it, Tom, it's betrayal.
Okay, I understand.
I almost want to believe that they made that level so hard just so that people will be like, okay, I'm not going for everything, and just keep up the pace.
That's not a bad idea from a design perspective, because then it kind of sets people in the mindset that they can just explore and not do everything. Mm-hmm. If you start off getting everything in a game, then that point where you realise, hang on, I might not be able to do this quickly, that can be a bit of a frustrating experience. So it's a good idea to set the standard early on.
Of course, the first one we get is blue. Why wouldn't it be? Ah, fuck, piss right through my hand.
That's what the gloves are for.
Oh, yeah. Now, I will warn you guys ahead of time. Be prepared for popping. It is, not a completely unfinished game, but it is definitely heavily unoptimized in a fair few areas, and sadly the pop-in is one of them.
There is a patch that it was supposed to be out today, but it's only out on PlayStation right now, which apparently addresses some of it. So hopefully by next time, we'll have access to actually, getting a bit better performance.
Well, that's fine. I have all this beautiful treasure to help me out in the meantime, and that unlocks the red Chaos Emerald. There it goes. It also unlocks the yellow Piss Emerald. There it goes. Oh, only 2? Oh, I could be spoiled better. Search for friends. That's what I do when I wake up in the morning.
There's a giant monster right there.
Oh, fine. I can't go after things that I want when there are enemies in the area anyway.
Get them out of the way, then they're not a problem. Plus it builds up your skill points.
It does, it does. He's a tough one. Come on. Hell yeah.
He is definitely one that you want to get a feel for the parry for, because it cuts down so much time off trying to fight him.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Oh, Amy! Why are you in this demon bubble?
Amy? Is that you?
Looks like one of the battle gates from Kingdom Hearts.
You're not wrong, actually.
Is someone there? Help me!
I'm stuck fighting Neo Shadows.
Maybe messing with the ruins will fix things.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of the Mayans. Speaking of hearts... Very good. Well, Amy's free, but she's a cyber ghost, and Sonic is sucking it all into his good hand.
Are you alright?
Me? You're the one who's only half here.
Unfortunately, unlike other character action games, we don't get, like a devil bringer or something that lets us pull ourselves to the enemy. That'd be super cool. I'm sure they asked for that, but they said no.
Well, I imagine if, like, Tangle comes into play at some point, because I imagine they'll bring the IDW characters over into the mainline series. That could be cool. Like, pull enemies towards her, throw them around.
That would be cool.
Be careful.
Careful? Where's the fun in that?
Oh.
You are the key. Be empowered with this.
That cutscene was an example of my pro tag. I just want to point that out. Sonic is finally Sonic again. He's not giving old Baldy McNosehair and that shit, because there's levity, and then there are just child antics.
Okay, Baldy McNosehair is funny, I'll stand by that, but I do get what you mean.
Alright, Amy's memory tokens. There's different memory tokens for each character that you have to rescue. Hearts are Amy's thing. No, it's not because she's a girl, it's because she has huge empathy for everything and everything.
Basically segmented off per island, so over the course of this island it will be the ones that we're getting for Amy, and each of the characters seems to have like a little mini arc of their own. And I actually really like that approach a lot because it gives them a chance to actually do interesting character building moments with the cast that have been mostly neglected. And it's about time we had that again, because it's been since, I want to say, maybe 06, the last time we had that, really.
Wow. Alright, so the red guy's over there. So you do all these, like, little Babby's first puzzle things around the map, and that opens up the map in the same way as Sheikah Tower would in Breath of the Wild, which is, again, nothing like Sonic Frontiers. Oh. Have we not been introduced yet?
Not yet, no, but remember to do the thing with his feet.
Ah, yes, I see.
Wait, what? There's a thing with the feet?
If you side loop around here, make him stumble, you can attack his foot, and then there's extra gears come out of him.
Whoa, that's cool.
And that is both feet, by the way.
Yep, so if you don't have the cheat DLC like we do, that's a way to get a head start early on in the game.
And I think that's one of the things I really appreciate about this game is, well, I know there's like my friends who are into character action a lot. They think that the combat is pretty basic and not that great, especially compared to even like Bayonetta and other ones by Sega. Just the fact that there are multiple ways to take down enemies and there's like little hidden things to make them easier or new ways to get stuff, that I like more than just, hit them a bunch of times with homing attacks or basic mash combos.
I'm using basic mash combos to take him out, but, he's not one of the more advanced enemies. He's just very, very big. Why?
So, you just showed off something that's kind of interesting, though. If you get hit as Sonic, but you manage to do, like, an aerial recovery, you actually keep your rings. So you did the parry in the air, and because of that you didn't hit the ground. You only lose rings when you hit the ground now. Meaning that, if you manage to find a way to stop yourself from hitting the ground, then you don't lose the rings.
Very interesting. Ah, you beat me. You even took the things I was saving for a rainy day.
It's fine, there's more like him.
Yes, there are, Flame. Yes, there are. Ah, let us celebrate with a new cyberspace. Those are the Coco, by the way. They're the Scrimblows of the game, and absolutely not like the Koroks from Breath of the Wild, which, as we've established, is not like Sonic Frontiers.
I'm gonna be honest, I expected them to fully be like the Koroks, where you do specific tasks for specific ones, but no, they're just ring parallels. Like, you just collect them. There's no rhyme or reason. They'll just be there and you grab them.
Part of me enjoys that. Like, there isn't a set number of them to collect, so you can just, like, go out and find them wherever, really.
Lends itself better to, like, the free-flowing direction of the game. Again, like, you can play this game in a handful of different ways and it's flexible, which I feel like if it was specifically take this guy to this place or do this exact thing, maybe that would break it a little bit. This is the new aesthetic for cyberspace, and unfortunately it is the one new one. I kind of wish there were more, but at least this one does look really cool, because they could have easily just made this speed highway or something, but they didn't, and I appreciate that much at the very least. And that background is sick as fuck.
Yeah.
I think, to me, this just evokes the ideas of the adventure era games. Like, it's not necessarily Speed Highway, it's not necessarily Radical Highway, but it kind of gives the feeling of any of those times when Sonic's kind of running around, a Metro City, like any of those stages where he's in the real world. And I think it's meant to sort of be a combination of those, just like how we got Nice Job, how we got, Green Hill representing all the Green Hill, you got some other themes that represent a variety of themes.
In fact, the very first stage we played was Green Hill, aesthetically, but design-wise was actually Windmill Isle Tutorial from Sonic Unleashed.
That is something that they do in quite a lot of the levels over the course of this game, and something that, while I get what they're going for in that respect, it's sort of remixing stuff together a bit more than some of the other level reuses. I kind of feel like it draws unfavourable comparisons. Because, that first level, if you compare that to how it was in Unleashed, where it was Sonic's arrived on this new area, this completely original new area, and this is his introduction to it. It was bright and colourful. You then go and transplant that into Green Hill. It's not quite the same.
Eggman, I see you. Standing at a distance, always funny.
I appear to be in a digital dimension. I've employed similar constructs in my own systems, but...
Yeah, I played through one in Advance 3. Thanks for that.
I took that more as Shadow the Hedgehog.
Well, that was one of them, per se.
The amount of data stored here defies quantification. But it won't stop me from trying.
Oh, Eggman. I love you in this game.
Eggman is one of them characters who is very flexible, and I feel like he wasn't buggered up too badly by the meta writing, but I definitely do prefer this particular kind of Eggman, where he still has some of his goofy villain quirks. There's still a few little comments here and there, but there's also layers to him.
Yeah. The most beautiful pop rock ever. Dum-de-dum, just going for a hero run. Suddenly Angel.
They literally fucking are.
It's like that one anime Tails keeps trying to get me to watch.
Tails isn't old enough to watch that.
And in case you're wondering, yes, there are absolutely mods already available for the PC version that just turn it into EVA 01, and it's great.
There are also mods that have him hit the Gangnam Style, so, swings and roundabouts.
I guess that's
And you didn't think to use that for this LP, Tom?
Oh, we're on Series X here, not PC. Me no like hedgehog.
You leave immediately.
Where'd you come from? Are you trapped too?
Do not approach the Titan.
But it looks really cool.
Sorry, kid, but I've got a job to do.
My pro tag.
If we are fortunate, it will destroy you.
Kind of raw. Also, this character here is voiced by the same person whose name escapes me, but they play Rei in Evangelion in both Japanese and English.
I was going to say that it is the same across both dubs, and it's very obvious that that's intentional from the characterization, just how she delivers her lines and that. It is a very similar kind of character, let's say. In a particular section here, I have seen people who struggle to grasp controls, and if you fail with this here, it keeps on looping Sonic falling back in the same place immediately, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's got a unique fail state, which is cool.
That is straight up an Evangelion shot.
See ya!
This bitch empty. Yeet!
Now, there was a lot of rumours and stuff floating around before Frontier's release, because details of the game actually leaked years before the actual game came out. We all thought it was going to be called Sonic Rangers at one point, but you know, the details described giant enemies, fighting them with Supersonic, yada yada yada, which is what you do in the game. What was the point I was trying to get to here? Oh right, yeah, one of the things was Sonic getting amnesia, and you know, having to reclaim his lost memories, which is why the stages look like they do. And there is a slight amnesia bent in some of the files in the game, but it never really comes up as like part of the actual story.
Honestly, I'm glad that they didn't go with that, because I feel like a lot of my favourite moments from this game's story are Sonic interacting with his friends, and I feel like just the familiarity between them makes those moments so much deeper, so much heavier. And also, like, although it's not straight up, I feel like if it were going to that, like, Sonic relearning his past and that, recovering his past, that would kind of be a retread of gens.
A little bit, a little bit. What's your take on this, Turner?
I remember reading the leaks and being like, oh, you know, we're going to be getting amnesia. And so I kept playing the whole game going like, all right, here comes the amnesia. It's coming. I can feel it. And it never does. And I was actually pretty happy about it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you get those interactions with friends. If he got amnesia, we wouldn't get half the callbacks. And boy, there are some good callbacks. So in the end, I think it was a better move to go away from it.
Plus, Sonic has kind of done amnesia before with Shadow's whole arc as well, hasn't it?
I'm good at this. I have played as Zeldor in my time.
See, when I see these, I think of Wallace's Gym from Ruby and Sapphire.
I was going to say,
it's the same kind of puzzle-solving, problem-solving approach that you got to learn to go back on yourself so you don't accidentally step off of it, that kind of thing.
Good. Another bit of the map opened. So yeah, what this Sagely dude up here does, basically exchanges the blue and red seeds you get for defense and power, respectively. Ooh, I can climb this.
Or you can run up the wall like that, which when I first saw the footage, even though early previews weren't that flattering, that was the part that I thought, okay, yes, this is Sonic doing Sonic things.
Oh, finally! Sonic doing Sonic things again.
one thing I have to address is that when you have the homing attack icon pop up, it is a triangle, and everyone I know who has this game on PlayStation tries to press triangle to do the homing attack. It's not on the triangle button. That's just the icon they use, and it's like, dang, why would you do that? That's confusing.
Skill issue. Just saying. Get good.
There's not many of these, but there are certain missions which play into this game having day-night cycle. I don't think, at least off the top of my head, unless I've missed anything really stupidly, that there's a way to speed up what time of day there is there?
No, sadly.
So that does mean that there's certain puzzles here, and it is only a small handful, but if you're trying to 100% this, it means that there's times where you to either conveniently be in the right area at the time, or remember that that particular one is over here for when it does get dark.
Alas, there are some oversights in the game. This is one of them.
There's a few quality of life things that could get polished up. Obviously, this is a radical departure from Sonic, and I expected some teething issues, so that's fine. It's just things like that kind of thing. Maybe if there was like a camp until night sort of system, it'd make them less of a problem. And also things like when you're enhancing your character, like when we just spoke to that other guy a moment ago, maybe if you could speed process up a little bit so you're not going through the same thing every time.
Well, he's not the problem, it's the other sage that powers you up by one stage at a time, that is.
Yeah, he's much worse.
I want my own personalised poker.
This Coco says they need to find their one true love before it's too late. They've been too shy to express their feelings, but if they don't do it now, they may never get the chance.
So yeah, Amy's still expressing all her, you know, lovey-dovey romanticism stuff, but she's not solely focused on getting Sonic to bang her, for lack of a better term.
Which is probably for the best. And Amy Rose, admittedly, seems like the kind of character that if this job fell in your lap, I wouldn't have a clue how to go about writing her well, and I'm glad Ian did manage to find a good approach to her, because so many of Amy's portrayals have made her annoying in different ways, and so to salvage that, it's a bigger ask than characters like, say, Sonic, Tails and Knuckles, who already have base popular personalities, I feel.
Come at me, bro. Get out of here.
We have a parry, eat shit.
Squid be over there. Oh, hey guys, bye guys.
You're just gonna leave them there?
If I don't have to be here, I don't have to be here.
You do have that little icon at the bottom that you have enough things now to upgrade your abilities if you want to do that.
Okay, that's that. Skills. Get the stomp. There we go.
The stomp is one of my favourites for finishing off a combo. Get a combo going, then press B and just fly in from off the top of the screen and do like one last kick. And it's so fucking satisfying.
It's also really good for if an enemy is about to do like a counterattack on you. If you time it properly, you can use that, go up into the air, avoid their attack, and then continue comboing them after it.
Oh,
it is, yeah, and some of them, it is a bit of a ballsy move depending where the lasers are, but for some of the enemies that have lasers, it's a way to get an extra hitting without having to like use more horizontal space.
Mm-hmm.
Now these token things, you just saw Tom get like 10 of them there. I do really appreciate that they are generous with those, because they're the ones that out of all the different power-ups, they're the most mandatory for moving the plot along. That's another thing that lends itself well to, you can play whichever parts of this island you want to play and then move on.
And if you are in a situation where you're just like, you're lacking like 2 or 3 of them and you really don't want to have to go around to look for them, you can get them randomly for looping. And in fact, I really recommend, because I played on hard mode for the whole game, which wasn't too bad. The reason that I did was because my friend said, hey, if you want to get the true ending, you have to play the game on hard mode. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know you could just switch it at the very end. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll be doing that then. So I played the whole game on hard mode, and there you really lose a lot of rings when you get hit. So if you're ever in a situation where you just need rings, you can just loop on the ground if you're in one of these stages here, and you can just get some wherever, and memory tokens.
Nice. Get used to giant structures in the sky. This is kind of the bread and butter of Sonic Frontiers.
There's a couple later on that kind of got my fear of heights going really badly, which Tom is now demonstrating. Thankfully, for the most part, as you go up, they usually put in, if it's a really tall structure, they'll put in shortcuts you can get. For these ones, not so much, but for some of the really tall ones, yeah, you get shortcuts along the way to jump back up quicker.
This kind of approach of like the random flying grind rolls and that, I remember that being one of the more contentious things during the previews, because without context, without having played it, it does look a little bit jarring of like, you know, you've got what looks like a pretty realistic looking area, at least by Sonic standards, and then some random grind roll, but you do get over that very quickly, and I feel like the fact that early on it brings in, you know, you do a mission and more of them appear, makes it feel more like something you're in charge of rather than just like an art clash like it could have been.
Hey, purple coins. Alright, pick these up, take them to the hidden portal, which is actually quite close right now, I believe. Oh, sorry. Send me the bill, I guess. These cutscenes are the exact same every time, so I will be skipping most of them.
That is entirely fair.
I started skipping them pretty much like, yeah, around this point where I'm like, okay, it's the same every time. Sounds good.
So yeah, we've touched on like the level and world design. I will say, I feel like there's a better way to incorporate all this stuff than just littering the very pleasant overworlds with rails and whatnot. Maybe something that needs to be refined for the next game, because it does lead to these areas kind of feeling a little bit samey outside of their unique set pieces. But otherwise, I like that they hired this man. You know, I'm pretty cool just running around doing a bit of this, a bit of that. Someone likened it to a Tony Hawk Pro Skater level, and I totally agree with that, because you could be like, you know, find a couple of guys, then you'll like find a unique rail system that'll take you to some goodies, which will help you unlock more goodies, and then you find Big's fishing hole, which we're going to go into now.
I like this little fishing game. It's a little mini game that I end up spending a lot more time in than I usually intend to when I go into one.
Oh, hey Sonic, you come here to fish too?
Big, what are you doing here? How did you get here? What even is here?
That sounds like regular Roger Sonic, honestly.
I don't know.
There's definitely some times when his voice slips, but I feel when you're exasperated from seeing Big the Cat back in the mainline game for the first time in, what, 16 years? That's fair.
Didn't even realize it was that long.
Would you like to try? I'll let you borrow a rod.
Not too keen on Big's voice in this game, but also I realise it's gonna be a very difficult role to cast. So I feel like this is probably the best compromise you're gonna get if you're not straight up using John St. John's Big the Cat voice.
Which he hated doing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This is Kyle Bear, aka Gohan from Dragon Ball, but also Ryu from Street Fighter.
Hell yeah.
We get the dramatic fishing satisfying animation.
Completely unnecessary, very Yakuza-like, I've been told, both that pop-in and just the general fishing gameplay style in general. A part of me is kind of sad to see the lack of control that was in Adventure, like just gone, just removed to make things more arcadey, but at the same time, this is a lot more relaxing, I think.
This is explicitly the wind down part of the game, so I feel like it works well, having it be a very simple press the button at the right time kind of thing.
The Lo-Fi Beats to Fish 2 is my favorite song in the game. I legitimately listen to this all the time.
perfect for this kind of scenario, yeah.
To try? I'll let you borrow 'em.
Alright, so we're just going to fish a little bit here and get some tokens, and then we can buy some stuff. Boom. Oh, yeah.
Big boy right away.
I do see what you mean about the Yakuza comparisons, though. Just the whole idea of having the very dramatic animation for something mundane, that's kind of a staple.
Oh, yeah.
Oh?
Something special. Ah, it's a fucking chest.
Then how was it swimming away from me?
The elusive chest fish. It's a fish in water, it's a chest on land. Damn, he was eager to get on the hook.
There is a surprising number of fish. I think there's more than in Animal Crossing. There are so many different ones, and you'll eventually start to get to some recolors later on, which is like, that's fair. There's recolors of fish in real life. They're called different species.
Yeah.
But not only do you get to see them, but they each have fish facts in your Fishipedia, and it's like so much effort for something only I care about.
I'm poor. I cannot partake in fishing anymore. Why don't we buy something?
Let you borrow 'em.
Might as well, before Big derates you for being poor.
Let's buy an egg memo with the token that we have. A couple of these. One of those. Ah, fuck it.
Would you like to try?
And if we go to the Fishipedia, we can see these things that Tanner was talking about. A medaka, a small slender fish, often found in home aquariums. But we also have voice logs, the egg memos. I assume these were meant to be part of the story proper, and they couldn't really find space for them, but they're here, and this is what I like, so let's have a listen.
Some force is keeping me from exiting cyberspace. Is it because my AI made unauthorized access to the databases? If so, that's the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do.
Oh, damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to trying to take over an ancient civilization's AI.
Would you like to try?
And that's not the only thing we have here. We have the barbecue spit from fucking Monster Hunter, and we also have the armor to go with it, but I'm not putting that on until we get to like the third island.
Oh no, we need to let these soap shoes soak in their time. I haven't done this myself yet, but I'm loving this.
Well, I guess some people prefer it that way.
Oh god. I do wish that if you burnt it, it would do the King of the Hill, we kindly ask them to leave, you know, when you get it burned.
I could do this if I was on my own, I swear. I'm just gonna try it once more.
Hey, don't worry, I've played Monster Hunter for like 10 years now, and I still fail this almost every single time.
Whatever, it's like a fraction of a second after I'm pressing it, I believe.
The timing is super rough. There's a reason why in most Monster Hunters, you can pay money to have someone else cook it for you.
Power. Nothing but power. Break the game in half.
Yeah, you can boost yourself way above the levels that you're expected to be at just by fishing and spending a lot of time fishing.
Now, it says we gotta go talk to Amy, but Squid is around here somewhere, and I kinda wanna dominate him.
It's your boy Squid!
Those guys will relentlessly chase you in kamikaze, by the way, once they're in that state.
Yeah, if you've pissed him off, then just stand there and parry. It's not worth trying to do literally anything else.
Dum-de-dum. Where are you, Squid?
Usually I go and wait for him on that ledge up on the left there, because he goes directly past that and it's a good spot to jump onto his trail from.
I guess we can go get the yellow Chaos Emerald while we're waiting for him. Is it going to be the type of game where we're just discussing and talking about whatever, because the game is this, guys. It's very open. You can do things in pretty much whatever order you fancy.
It's relaxing, honestly. Just the idea of just, you're in a world, you can do what you want, you'll always be progressing, and, you know, just a good time.
Oh, thank God, I thought I fucked it up for a second there.
I did think so. Like, a lot of these ones, there are multiple ways you can do them, so I had a completely different approach in my head watching you do that. Actually, come to think of it, I could bring that up now. It is one of the, I guess, like, problems I have with the overworld areas, in that a lot of the puzzles don't really get much more complex than that, even in the later islands. And so it kind of makes exploring the islands, at least trying to map things out on them, lose its luster over time. And I kind of wish that maybe there was a bit of a difficulty ramp there more than what we have.
Sure.
Just so it's not just doing the same thing again but on a different island this time.
I don't disagree. Amy's here. Let's get her take on this. What do you feel about the general puzzle design of Sonic Frontiers, Amy? As I pour hearts down your throat.
Is this enough to get us into Twinkle Park? What about now?
So, something's been bugging me about these ruins.
So it is worth noting that there are both mandatory ones, as well as a large variety of optional discussions with each of the characters there. So even if it doesn't say, you know, talk to Amy, and it's not one that it's pointing us to, you can still talk to her, and you'll get stuff that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
I will say these side story conversations, just in terms of like direction and whatnot, are nowhere near as like as fun to watch as like the main story cutscenes where all the animation is. But it's just such a treat to have Sonic characters talk to each other like actual characters for a change, instead of just fulfilling tropes and, you know, just roles, really. And maybe that makes me a little bit pretentious, but I like a little bit of depth to my Sonic. It doesn't need to be fucking Redwall or whatever, but something a bit more than what we've been getting in the past.
It's definitely a strength this game gets from its longer run time, I feel, because when they're writing a story that exists solely to tie together like a 2-hour game, there's really not much leeway to include anything that's not explicitly, this is the thing that's happening right now. Whereas this game, it leaves more possibility for that to happen, and Ian and the writers have properly capitalised on that, and it's all the more better for it.
Ooh, another cyberspace. Why not? Take the wheel of yore and allow me into the internet. In your own time. Sorry, I was just powering up the chair.
It'd be great if you put in the gear, and all of a sudden you just hear the Dreamcast scratching noises, like it's loading up.
Oh god.
Let's have a look at the Phantom Rush. Yeah, baby!
If you keep a combo going long enough, then it powers up all of your attacks, they get really fancy new animations. And it's something else that, even though we've talked about this game's combat isn't as complex as some other action games, you still get that feeling of, hey, I'm doing something fucking sick here.
Whoa, I am doing something sick here. I'm playing a Sonic game. By the by, the boost does not take out enemies in this game, so unlearn that little tidbit pretty fast.
I got screwed over so many times.
Same, and this level in particular is one that really makes you get a feel for how the control is different here, because this is a mishmash of the 3D sections from Green Hill Generations. And if you have Green Hill Generations practically memorized like I do, unlearn that. It will work against you.
Another kind of interesting thing, which I understand but also kind of disagree with, is you very rarely will find red rings on optional side paths.
Yeah.
Pretty much for the most part, if you're going fast, you might not get all the red rings because they're almost all in the main path. So you might have to do multiple runs. The fast one and then the ring run, unless you're just super gamer like Tom, who gets them both.
Well, Super Gamer is my middle name.